SingleBlackGayDad. Hello, and thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Single Black Gay Dad. Today we're going to talk about finding a surrogate. I had a friend that offered to be a surrogate for me when I was ready to have kids. I went and signed her up with my clinic, got her to go through the screening, everything was fine. Then closer to getting down to the nitty-gritty, I started to see some hesitation, and for personal reasons, she decided that it wasn't something that was in her best interest, which she has every right to do. So what I want to say before I get into this video is, if you are not serious, the lasting effects of the letdown and the disappointment that the person who's relying on you feels, it's devastating. No, if you're not serious and it's not something you're prepared to do, don't volunteer because it hurts. So it's all love. And I cried a bit and I talked to some people. I honestly felt like the world was ending. I felt like my dream was over. I felt like all the doors that were open closed on me, and I felt like this is not gonna happen. But I spent a few days crying and feeling sad about it, and I was like, yo, you're Dre. Get up, dust off your shoulders, and figure out a plan B, because you ain't gonna let nobody stop what you trying to do. You ain't gonna let no one stop your bag. You ain't gonna let no one stop your dreams and your goals. You're gonna make it happen. So I was like, you know what? That happened. God got a bigger plan, way bigger than I could ever imagine. He got this figured out. He got this in the bag already. I just gotta figure it out. So that's when I came across the surrogacy agencies. So I did my research and I found about 3 to 4 surrogacy agencies in Canada, and I contacted the major one, which the biggest one in Canada is also linked to the biggest egg donor agency. A wife is the head of the surrogacy agency and her husband is the head of the egg donor agency. So they both refer clients back and forth.
And as I said, I'm not mentioning no names because I'm not giving anyone free publicity on this channel, okay?
They market themselves as having the biggest pool of surrogates, and they have amazing marketing campaigns. They're all over online. They have an online presence. They got testimonials, all these amazing things that you would hear that and just get excited. Because when I saw their website and I called them and connected with them and signed up, I was excited. I was like, okay, my journey is beginning and this is gonna happen. So I contacted them, and then they signed me up for an intake call, which was 28 days later. So that whole month I was over the moon. I was like, okay, they're gonna call and we're gonna get the ball rolling. They're gonna have a surrogate ready for me, and this is gonna be it. We're just gonna be off to the races. 28 days later, we had the intake call, and you know, I was devastated and let down because basically during that call, I learned that they only have 2 surrogates in all of Ontario, and at least 45 intended parents or parent like myself vying for these 2 surrogates. So they sent me the surrogates profiles. One of the surrogates, she refused to carry for single parents or LGBT, so I was out right away. The other surrogate, I don't really remember what her issue was or whatnot, but either way, me competing with 45 sets of parents, I think I'm a cool person, but I don't have a sob story. And when you are a single gay male, ain't nobody out here feeling sorry for you that you can't have a kid. They're just like, go sleep with women. You won't. If I had $1 for every time someone was like,
why don't you just turn the lights off and sleep with a woman? It'd be far cheaper. And it's like,
like, how am I going to measure up against 45 other sets of parents who probably have sob stories like they tried to get pregnant for 17 years, it didn't work out, they had how many miscarriages or stillbirths and whatnot. So for me, they wanted me to do a video, and I'm like, I was turned off. I was like, that's not my style. I'm not going to be on video begging someone to carry my baby. Like, it's an amazing thing that you're doing for me, but I'm not going to beg you. At the end of the day, I'm reimbursing you for your costs. You're doing me an amazing favor, but you're not coming out of pocket for this. And I'm not going to beg you. Me begging you would be you doing this for free, getting absolutely nothing in return. I'm benefiting because I'm getting my child. You're benefiting because you're getting your costs reimbursed. We're both benefiting from this situation. So me begging is not going to occur. And if that meant me being down on my hands and knees, I probably would not have been a parent. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna keep it funky with you. I ain't begging nobody. As part of you being an intended parent, the surrogate has a profile. So it's sort of like, it's not a dating site, but they provide the profiles of the parents to the surrogates, and they provide the surrogates profiles to the parents. So they match you that way. That agency also had a $9,000 consulting fee, which they consult. But the catch is they take the fee from you, and there's no guarantee that they will match you. And it takes, on average, they believe that each parent will be matched within a year or two. But do the math. If there's only 2 surrogates currently on your roster and you got at least 45 parents, how the hell is it only going to take 2 years to match them? That don't make no damn sense. And they take the consulting fee from if my memory serves me correct, they take the consulting fee up front. So they want you to pay $9,000 just for them to potentially match you. And it's not guaranteed. So not even potentially match you. They're basically taking the $9,000 to swap profiles. And there's no guarantee that you're going to be interested in the surrogate. There's no guarantee they're going to be interested in you. So that's a huge risk. I'm paying you $9,000, $10,000, and you can't guarantee that you're going to match me with a surrogate that's going to carry my baby. That's a problem. So the role of the agency is to facilitate a match between the parents and the surrogates. So the parents will have profiles of their own with attaching pictures, a letter to the surrogate, different things about where they work, why they want to be parents, different things. Like, it's like a dating site, sort of. Like, it's like Matchmaker. And the surrogate will tell you her profile about who she is, her children, how old they are, and different things that you want to know, whether she was a surrogate before. Like, all that information will be contained in her profile. So the first major agency, when that went a bust and I was completely turned off, I was like, there's no way that I'll ever become a parent waiting for a surrogate when they basically have none. I found 3 other clinics in Ontario, Alberta, and I think the other one was, BC, I think. So I arranged for intake calls with all 3 of them. Everything went well with all of them. The problem with the other 2, they flat out didn't have surrogates and they were waiting to, I guess, up their roster and get some more surrogates. But the more attractive thing was, even though they didn't have surrogates, they were very friendly. I didn't feel like I was being pushed in like cattle, like just another number. They were small agencies, but I could tell they took their time to get to know their parents before matching them with their surrogates, which was attractive to me because I'm like, I want to feel like someone knows me and know that I can reach them if there's an issue. Like, if I'm having an issue with the surrogate, I can contact them and they can sort it out, or we can come to some conclusion or whatnot. The other agency that I ended up going with, she was the one to find the surrogate for me in Alberta. So initially, her agency is a bit smaller too, but she's not like the bigger agency where they'll just take anyone who comes in, because they're taking all your money up front anyways. So if they're getting $9,000 from 42 parents who are waiting on being picked between 2 surrogates, it's a cash grab. This agency, she doesn't take the consulting fee, which is around $10,000, $11,000. She doesn't take it until you're matched. So that for me was more attractive. I'm like, okay, you know what? It's a lot of money to be paying someone, but at least if I'm paying it, I know I'm paying it because we've been successfully matched. And she also doesn't take the fee until the surrogate has been cleared by your clinic. So that was another thing that was okay, you know what? That's good. So she At the time, she didn't have any Ontario surrogates that were available. So I talked to my lawyer and I was like, you know what? She thinks she has someone in Alberta. I don't know if I necessarily want my children to be born across the country. But my lawyer was like, you know what? Think about it. BC and Alberta are very surrogate-friendly provinces, just like Ontario, where I currently live. And she's like, you may want to consider it. So I started to think at that point, it's like when you have a goal and you're so one-track minded, you can miss out on your blessings. You have to sometimes reevaluate what your plan is at every step of the way. You might have been like, you know what? My plan is to go through door A. And for whatever reason, door A is jammed. Doesn't mean you stand there and wait till door A opens. You're like, you know what? Maybe door C might be the right way to go to get me to the end goal. And that's what I had to do. I was like, okay, you know what? Alberta is not my first choice. I would prefer my babies were born locally. Less stress, less headache, less money. Because, of course, if you proceed with Alberta surrogate, you got to fly her in for the procedure, fly her back. There's missed days of work, all those different things and whatnot. So I was like, do I wait on an Ontario surrogate to finally come up? And at this rate with all these clinics, I talked to 4 different agencies, surrogacy agencies, and they all basically had no Ontario surrogates because Ontario, the population is so huge here and there's so many parents with fertility issues or LGBT looking for a surrogate that surrogates in Ontario are significantly outnumbered by the parents that are vying for them. So my thing was, do I wait potentially years and not be picked, or do I alter my plan, spend a little more money and do it at a province with someone else? And I was like, you know what? Connect me to the girl in Alberta. So she swapped our profiles. I was out that night. She sent me the profile and I read it. And I was like, her picture was on there with her holding her son and daughter. And I was like, something in me connected. And I didn't even talk to her yet. I was like, she seems cool and down to earth. And I was like, she's around my age. Like, okay. Not trying to get my hopes up because I'm like, we could be connected and I could like her and she could not like me, or I could be feeling this way now and I could talk to her and be like, nah, she's not it. So she connected us, gave us each other's numbers, and it was late at night. Like, she's in Alberta. Alberta's 2 hours behind, so she connected us at like 9 or 10 at night. And we exchanged numbers and we were texting back and forth like all night till like 2 or 3 in the morning. I was like, okay, we gotta go to bed. We got work in the morning. But it felt so natural. So we're talking for like 2-3 days straight. So then we're talking and she's starting to feel like maybe he's not interested in me. And I'm like, and then she messaged me and she's like, because my surrogate, she's very upfront. I love that about her because she's like me. We're both like, listen, you know, you're doing too much or what's going on? Like, we're both like, I don't like people who beat around the bush, passive aggressive people. I like straight shooters like me. So she, like 3-4 days later, she's like, hey, are you happy with me? Like, do you want to proceed with me? I was like, what do you mean? Like, we talk every day. Like, of course. And she was like, oh, because you haven't contacted the agency and told them that you want to proceed with me. I was like, oh, I have to do that. I'm like, my bad. So I emailed her the agency right away. I was like, of course I want to proceed with her. She's awesome. She's amazing. So it was funny. It was, I guess, me being a guy, like I was just enthralled in our friendship that was brewing and not paying attention to the fact that, yeah, hey, you gotta let the clinic know it's a match. You know, they made a match. My babies are turning a year and me and the surrogate still talk. And as you know, in some situations, it doesn't turn out this way. Like, I've read horror stories where the surrogate and the family don't get along, and then when the baby's born, it's like, snatch, thanks for coming out, goodbye, they never speak again. And I've heard horror stories where the surrogate wasn't even allowed to say goodbye to her surrogate baby. It was just like the family snatched the baby and the surrogate never heard from or seen them again. And that is something that I could never do, because even if things went left, you carried my child and my child's healthy and alive because of you. So there's no way that I could turn my back on someone like that, even if I wanted to. So we still get along, we still talk. She's amazing. And I thank God for her, and I'm gonna go through the entire journey on this channel, so you'll learn what happened along the way and things I learned and whatnot. But my advice is trust your instincts. Like, when you meet a surrogate or you get connected with a surrogate and you are getting to know them and whatnot, like, see how you feel. Like, do you get butterflies? Like, you know, because you guys are going to talk about personal things, and you guys need to be able to communicate effectively and it not feel awkward, and her to feel like your friend. And there has to be trust there, because you have to trust that she's taking her medications and she's taking the doctor's advice and doing all the right things that she needs to do. Because I've heard horror stories where the surrogate didn't take the medication on time and it caused there to be a miscarriage. So you want someone that you feel is responsible and is taking this seriously and wants to genuinely do this for the right reasons. If her heart is in it and she's doing it for the right reasons, it has to go right. Thank you for tuning into this video. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click that bell for the notifications on my latest videos.